Hi, and welcome to the most track spec Miata I've ever driven without a door. It has basically dirt racing or NASCAR harnesses, whatever each one you want to call it, and the entire interior is gutted. So if this is loud, we're just gonna have to deal with it. So what's up, guys? Today we're in a 1991 in a Miata. I just did the Miata RF, which is the brand new ND Miata. So we're gonna go back to the Miata's roots. And when I talk about the Miata's roots, it does not go more track oriented than this one. So this is an NA Miata that mechanically is completely stock. So motor, trans, differential, etc., etc. Everything is bone stock. But what Adrian has done chassis reinforcement. You know, you have a hood up here that's kind of crumpled up, but that's okay. So basically what had happened was it had hood pins on it, still does have hood pins on it, but he just forgot to latch them all the way down, so it flipped up and almost basically fell off. Then he went home and he hammered it out and it was fine. So while he was hammering it out, he goes, I should just put scoops on it because I don't care about hurting the bashed up hood. Along with that, he did suspension, but it's just springs on the car. I could have sworn it would be coilovers on this car, but it just springs. And it actually rides pretty smooth. It's not really bumpy. I've driven an NA before on coils, and it was on a really rough road. I was just like, oh my God. Along with that, it has this awesome cage in it. And I've barely driven the car, but the car feels so much more rigid than the first NA I ever drove, which was just like basically a bone stock NA. That was the Troll Miata. When people do Miata builds, they have one goal, and that is grip for the most part. Now, of course, there's drift builds in Miatas, but most of the time, people do it for time attack. It's awesome that everything's mechanically stock, so that it's not in the back of your head going, I hope this doesn't break because I messed with it. But the 4-cylinder in this is the 1.6 liter. They later went to a 1.8 liter and then later to a 2.0. But the 1.6 definitely has a special sound to it for sure. So it has Toyo R81s on it, which are really good at first for driving all around. You have a little bit of rain tread on it. Once you've beaten it up some and worn that out, it's straight track tire. But the cool thing about these is that you can ride them out until the cord is showing. So if you have a really sticky tire in a Miata, dude, you're like a superhero on a track sometimes. I'm gonna talk about the interior. There's this really nice race wheel with the nice stripe in the middle, and you know you're centered. Along with that, you have this awesome racing seat with harnesses. And of course, harnesses I take like 10 years to put on, and you had to teach me how to put this one on because it was just like the one I did in the 280Z. It was the hook, it wasn't like the latches. Same kind of harnesses they use in dirt track racing. Oh wow, yeah. Turn in, even in like 4th gear, it's so easy. Yeah, I think if there's any word to describe a Miata's driving experience, is exhilarating, because you keep your momentum up. You just keep it going and keep it going and keep it going, and you don't have to brake as often as a modern car because you're so light. But the number one word I would use is simple and easy, and/or easy, because when you go around a corner, you're really not that scared because you're confident in the weight distribution and in the tire that you're using. The entire interior is gutted. So I've never been in a Miata where you see the floorboard, the shifter has no boot, no center console, and I can feel the air going through the trans tunnel as I shift gears, which I don't know. At first you're like, oh, that's bad, but I don't know, it kind of adds to the experience that you're in a race car. I don't know. Also, the doors are completely gone. There's no panel left. And this morning he asked, he's like, hey, do you want the windows on or off the car? I was like, you should probably keep them on for sound purposes. That's the best thing about the Miata, is it has that mentality of, I can have so much fun in a car and pretty much never break the law when I'm accelerating. I've always thought that the Miata and the S2000 executed this better, this mindset better, than like the BRZ or the FRS. I don't know, I think there's just something about it. Plus with the chassis reinforcement, you just barely turn in and you instantly have feedback. There's like no dead zone in this Miata, which is fantastic. A lot of cars I've been driving recently, you'll turn in and you'll get kind of a dead zone where the car doesn't do anything, and then it goes in. This has that signature analog feel in every aspect. You have the crazy long mirror up top, the roll cage. It's just an experience, and I love it so far. And so one thing we notice about the car is sometimes upon deceleration, there's kind of this rattly kind of trans noise that you get. And it doesn't feel like the trans is broken, but it never happened until he used Royal Purple transmission fluid. So not hating on Royal Purple, but I don't know, the sound started after he used that, so maybe it's better to use Mobil 1 or somebody else for a Miata. I'm sure somebody in the comment section below will be like, oh, how dare you use Royal Purple, but let him know whatever fluid he should use, he'll probably change it. The brakes on this as well are bone stock, and they work great because of how light the car is, and he has an added horsepower. So usually you want bigger brakes if you have higher horsepower, because you're going faster, and you have to slow down faster. I also love the back that he doesn't have a bumper on it. I don't know, there's just something about that says race car. He goes, oh look, a free modification. Awesome. By the way, this orange color on this is spray paint, and I'm not hating on that at all. I think it's a really good like 10-footer car. I would have no idea. And he thought about plastic dipping it, but he was like, oh, whatever, I'll just spray paint it, why not? He has these two gauges up on the dash because the water temp gauge, the stock one, stopped working. So he goes, oh look, an opportunity for getting really cool gauges to put on my dash. He also has an oil pressure one too that hasn't been hooked up yet, but you know, we'll do it later, why not? I had to say though, for 148,000 miles on this car, this shifter is fan-freaking-tastic. And I think it's almost a placebo thing, because like when I have the shifter boot on it, I didn't like it as much, but now that it's just open air and I can feel everything mechanically working, I don't know, I love that aspect of it. You can rev this out to 7,000 RPM without hurting anything, so that's also fantastic. It's funny because the Miata has such a good cult following, because people who have Miatas, I know, always have Miatas. Like the guy with the Miata RF has a separate Miata build, even though he just bought a new Miata. It's just, they love them. And whenever I drive one, I go, I get it. Especially this one. I think I've really seen the light with this one, because I've never driven one that was like completely specced out. You know, just completely ready to go to the track. And I think there's something special about these, because you can get one for fairly cheap, and you can have a track car, and it is your track toy. I mean, he didn't even mean to make this a crazy track toy. It just ended up this way. It's just one of those things where you mod one thing, oh yeah, I'll do this too, and then it just all adds up. Now, he was teaching somebody how to drive stick in this car, which by the way, the Miata is like a perfect car to teach somebody how to drive stick. But with that, the clutch went out. So he was like, okay, I need to change the clutch. So he went to go change the clutch. He goes, well, still waiting on the clutch, so I'll just rip everything out of the car because I can. And after that, look what happened. It became this awesome track toy. Oops, I missed. Wow. Back there, I was moving. Yeah, I missed fourth, but I was just more focused on, you know, staying alive. So the thing is, oh God, that these tires are more heat-based than like a normal street tire. So if you get them up to temperature, they are just basically a slick. It's ridiculous. Oh wow, that was bad. All the way in it, around the bend. That's what represents a Miata. You don't ever have to lift. It's awesome. That saying never lift is true in the Miata. It actually benefits you though when you don't lift, because it rotates the car. So if you let off the gas, you don't get a lot, but you understeer just that much, and you're like, oh, I should probably put throttle in, and then it evens everything out. The Miata rewards you for going faster, which is not scary, ironically. I just did pretty much, I call the scariest turn on this road, because it starts to camber out a little bit, and it's just a weird transition, but car did it perfectly. Like, I've never felt like more confident in a car recently, other than the ND Miata, but you're much more connected to the car in this one, because the ND, as good as it is, it doesn't have, you know, the extra tire, and it doesn't have all that. This is just like a go-kart on the street, and that's what's so great. Oh, I just want to add that the owner of this car does have a YouTube channel if you're interested. He does a lot of track-oriented vlogs and things like that, so if you get excited about track stuff, he's the guy to follow. So I'll put the link in the description below, so make sure to check him out. And on that note, guys, a Miata's a Miata. Like, it's one of those things where it's so fascinating that everybody does so many different things to these cars, and what he has done is great, especially that the car is mechanically stock. This is to show what you can potentially do without having to mess with the engine. So on that note, guys, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a fantastic day. Woo!